Okay, so welcome everybody. Thanks for being here today on this info session for regarding BITS, so the Barbados Interdisciplinary Tropical Studies. There's the four of us here that are here for you to answer some of your questions, present the program. So it's myself, Philippe Seguin, professor in plant science, and I'll let my colleagues introduce themselves.
I'm Caroline Begg. I'm in plant science as well, and I'm one of the co-coordinators, and I do the project as part of the BITS program.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Valérie Gravel. I'm also a professor in the plant science department. I specialize in horticulture, so I teach in the first course of the program, which is horticulture, tropical horticulture.
I am Selena. I'm an administrator, so I take care of any pre-departure information, helping getting the visas going. Any questions you might have, you can always reach out to me.
Okay, so then we'll proceed. So the goal, it's fairly informal today. Just prepare a few slides just to give you an idea of the objective of the program, and also some of its content, and also what are some of the procedure in order to apply if you're interested. And again, you can ask question either during the short presentation or at the end orally again, or you can put your question in the chat. So what's the program? So essentially BITS, as we call it, again, stands for Barbados Interdisciplinary Tropical Studies Program. It's a bilateral program between McGill University, but also the University of the West Indies. So there's students from both university in the program, as well as instructor, collaborator, and some of the course are held at the University of the West Indies, some at the campus of McGill in Barbados. So it's an entire semester of learning abroad, which of course it's a unique environment at the Bel-Air Research Institute, which belongs to McGill, located in Barbados. And again, it's really interdisciplinary, but also includes participants and instructor from both McGill and the University of West Indies. It's a full semester study, so if you register in this program, you'll get 15 credits upon completion. And it's offered just during the summer, so from 19th of May, their arrival, to August 4th, when the programs finish. So it consists of 3 classes or courses, I'll present later, and 1 group project that takes place over the course of the 11 weeks. So it's 3 intensive class. So we proceed with the first class. Then when it's completed, we move on to the second and the third class course, and the project span the entire semester. So it's 3 intensive course plus 1 project during the whole semester. There's no prerequisite class required to register in the program, and also we accept students from all faculties and also from all years, so from U0 to U3. And it's open, as I said, to all undergraduate students from all faculties. There's, however, a limited registration, so we accept in the program a maximum of 20 participants, and we also need a certain minimum for the program to take place. So Barbados, if you're not familiar, is located in the Caribbean. It's, of course, a beautiful island with a rich history, culture, and a lot, as you would see if you participate in the program, in terms of nature, wildlife, and also various activities economical on the island. It's also home to some of the best marine sanctuaries, wildlife reserve, animal sanctuaries in the Caribbean, and these are some of the places that we visit during the course of the semester. So it takes place both at the University of West Indies, but we're centrally located for most of the activities at the Bel-Air Research Institute of McGill, which is located on the west coast of the island. So it was founded in 1954, and we've been conducting there, teaching and research activities since. So this is where the students that participate in the program are located. So you can see the pictures that you see on the right-hand side of the slide is the Bel Air Research Institute. So at the bottom one, you see the building that hosts the rooms where the students will stay. And you can see that the institute is located directly on the beach, as you can see on the top picture. So as you can see on site, so right on the reef, so you have the coral reef. You'll see a lot of diversity in terms of vegetation, all this at the institute, but also, of course, throughout the entire island, as the course is heavily based on visit that we do throughout the island, and as we'll underline when we present each of the course. So what are the courses? So again, we have 3 courses. The first course, I'll let my colleague Valérie to introduce it. It's a tropical horticulture ecology.
Yes, so this is the first course in the program. So we start off with this course. It's usually 4-week long. And this is one course that's given both at the Bel Air Institute and also at the University of the West Indies. So usually what happens is in the morning, we travel to Cave Hill, to the university. We have the lectures in the morning. And then usually in the afternoon, we go for visits. So field trips to visit either production sites or nurseries or locations that are involved in the food chain in Barbados. So this course, it's really dedicated for horticulture. So we talk about vegetable production, about fruit production, but also ornamental production, which is quite an industry in Barbados. So we look at the plant growth environment. We start off by describing what are the environments in which plants grow. We also discuss challenges with producing horticultural crops in Barbados. This is a course where we have students both from McGill and from UWI. And the teaching is done by myself, but also by professors at UWI. So it's a very diverse course, but also really dedicated for horticulture. We also have lab sessions. So we either do field trips, but students also do one project during this course. So it's usually started during the first week, and then we follow what's happening with our project for the following 4 weeks. And I think that's it.
Okay, and the second course is a course entitled Sustainable Land Use, in which I teach with my colleague from McGill, who's not with us today, but Elsa Vassa, who's a professor in the Department of Animal Science. So essentially in that course, the structure, it's more intensive than the first course. So it will take place during 3 weeks. So there's the structure is 3 weeks where we have a little bit, as my colleague mentioned just before. So the structure is that we have classes during 4 days of the week. I think it's the same thing for the first course. So it's 3 or 4 days per week. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And essentially what we do is the lectures take place at the Bel Air Research Institute itself. So all the lectures are there in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we are going to have also, as Valérie described, same thing, some visits and different enterprise. So what this course focus, it's also very diverse, very multidisciplinary. We really focus on land resource use, especially focusing on small insular nations. So we're looking at environmental and socioeconomic constraint that affects crop and animal production in such a unique environment. So we're really looking at the whole spectrum. So we go at economical aspect all the way to crop or animal management. So it's a very multidisciplinary. And so that's what the lectures cover. And then for the visits, what we do, so the visits are held at different locations. We look at the diversity of ag enterprise, but also other use. So in recent years, we visited, for example, small mixed farms that includes both crops and animals such as sheep, larger farms, and also such as dairy cattle farms, and also recreational use, which is important when we talk about land use in Barbados, recreational use such as, for example, golf or polo grounds, for example. So essentially that's what it entails. So we have the lectures in the morning and the visits in the afternoon. Then there's a break of 1 week after the course, and the final exam is in the end of the 4th week. We have a third course, which is given by 2 of our colleagues. One is Don Smith, who's also located in the Department of Plant Science, and Mark Lesford, who's in the Department of Bioresource Engineering. So that course is entitled Tropical Energy and Food Technology. So the format is exactly like what I just described for my course. So it's a 3-week intensive long course, same format, lectures in the morning on campus at Bel-Airs, and visits in the afternoon with the professors, and also some professor, I forgot to mention, from the University of West Indies that join us for the visit of the different enterprise or farms that we visit. So in that third course, it's really also very diverse. Essentially, the professors here are going to talk about tropical energy options, and also food and bioproduct in the tropical context, of course, with, again, small insular context, which is very unique of countries like Barbados. So essentially, they're going to visits in the field trips, innovative local production facility, food industry, but also, for the energy sector, trying to see renewable and sustainable energy production. And then the 4th course, which is the project that spans during the entire semester. I'll let my colleague Caroline Beck to talk about it.
So the project course is you work in association with an agency, a government agency, a university, or a nonprofit on the island. Basically, I work in collaboration with Jeff Chandler, who's a long-term collaborator with us at UWI. And he reaches out. He has a huge network of people that he knows and organizations. And he's also an expert in all things plants, especially with regard to Barbados. And he knows various places that are looking for help to kind of develop an idea that they have. You work in conjunction with your sort of supervisor mentor, and you work on this project, and you get to select your project. Most people get their first choice or their second choice of projects, but that's generally how it works out. And it's usually 2 to 3 people per project. The projects are on the website. There's little videos there of the projects. And so we had, so in the last 2 years, or let's say the last year, we had one group that was working with the governmental analytical services, and they were looking at bacterial or other contaminations in fish markets or in the seashore, sea near some of the markets. And so they traveled around and gathered samples, worked in the lab. We had somebody who was developing an ethnobotanical garden, specifically for Bajans to reflect their culture and history, and what they basically to kind of go back to the land or the ground that they were talking about. We had some people who were working at developing proper propagation techniques for certain types of plants. We had people who were working with black-bellied sheep and developing a nutrition diet for them. We had one group that was working with trying to get bees, develop sort of like not really the bee industry, but really get people more interested in bees, preserving bees, and maybe having hives and that on the island. So there's a lot of different types of projects that are possible. It's for you start right away. There's usually always Mondays are dedicated to working with the project. There's some extra time. And it's a 6-credit course, so there's academic requirements. There's a final presentation that you give to all of the mentors in that. Yeah, so it could be the type of project is very, very varied. So there's different ones that you can do.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I'm trying to change. Oh, somebody I think raised their hand.
Yeah, I had a question about the projects.
Mhm.
How much time in advance do we find out what the projects are? Because I was looking at doing the program as part of an environmental engineering minor, and I need to get permission first to see if the project would fit the requirements of that. So I was wondering if we get it before we leave, or do we only find out once we get there?
Oh, so sorry, I was muted. Mark I worked with Mark last year because oh, I just forgot her name. I'm sorry. She did the project there as well, and so we had that worked out ahead of time. I usually get the projects several weeks before before people leave, so we know already ahead of time what's going to happen, what's the best one. Mark usually looks them over and says, "This is the one I think will work," and that's how it works. So it's very possible. We've had probably every time we've gone there, there's been some engineering students who have done projects and it's worked out fine. And you do at least 3 weeks ahead of time.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, and Mark Lesford is a member of the bioresource engineering, so that's why he's with us and can ensure that the project meet those requirements. So as Caroline had mentioned, you can see her, she mentioned some of the project we had last year, but also more in previous year as well. So you can see here, I've put the link. This presentation again will be available after soon later this week, so you can consult a greater list of projects we had in recent years. Here I'll skip it. There's a link. If you click later, you can see, for example, this was one project. You can see that was looking at water quality for a project we had in 2019. So invite you to look. It will give you a feel for the type of project that some of the students are doing. This is one that's available here and I think incorporated in this presentation. But again, on our website, you can see there's a greater range. So again, you can see type of project and type of report that the student have done at the end of the semester, so to give you a good idea of what to expect. So what's the application procedure? So there's a few requirements or steps. The first one, you need to fill out the BITS application form that you can access by clicking on this link or going on our website, which is www.mcgill.ca/bits. Then you need to email a letter of intent, which is maximum 1 page, and a brief CV to Caroline. Here you have her email. And if some of you were a non-McGill student, you also need to send a copy of your academic transcript. So the deadline for applications 19th of January officially, but remember that we have only 20 spots in the semester, so we encourage you to apply as soon as possible. We already received several applications, so we do look at the different applicants, but we encourage you to apply as soon as possible and not wait that long. Okay. So what are the selection criteria? So the assessment is done by the three of us. And we're looking is based on your expression of interest in that motivation letter that you need to submit, your cumulative GPA, also the program that you're in, but we don't have requirement for specific, but we usually want to have a diversity of faculties and programs represented, so we can have a very diverse group in the semester. So the students that are accepted for the program for next summer will be notified prior to the deadline. And we would have a mandatory there's a couple of mandatory pre-departure orientations, some that are made by us and also some made by the university that would take place somewhere, of course, before departure, somewhere in March or April of 2024. And we would contact, of course, all the candidates that have been selected with very specific dates. So again, if you want more information about travel documentation, etc., again, this is our website. Of course, you can ask a question now or at the end of the presentation as well. So big question, what is the fee? So the total program fee is $10,635 to be precise. So it includes meals, 2 meals per day, so lunch and supper during the week, so Monday to Friday. So on the weekend, you're responsible for making your own meal and purchasing at a nearby supermarket your food. The accommodation, 2 or 3 students per room. You have kitchen access for the weekend and for the breakfast. You have a computer room access, a small library, internet access as well, Wi-Fi. The study visa. It does not include, however, airfare, the tuition, which are the regular tuition you would pay for any other course, and any other requirements that may be required depending on your status, for example. So the program fee is non-refundable. However, there's, if there was you had to withdraw from the program for whatever urgent reason, you would need to contact us for discussing this. So the payments, it's a $1,000 deposit once accepting the program, must be paid by January 24, which is non-refundable, and the rest must be paid by March 24. This being said, so this year, Selena, maybe you want to add about the grant that we have or the subsidy?
Yes. So, well, first of all, I noticed the police certificate that was removed, so you don't have to do the police certificate
okay.
anymore.
Mhm.
So that's good, and a savings and one less step.
Mhm.
This year, extending a grant of $4,000 to any student who has been accepted in the program. So the grant would go against the program fee. So basically, it's $10,635. You're responsible for that. That's your program fee, but McGill will award a $4,000 grant posited to your student account somewhere around March or April, and is to go against that fee. So it brings down the cost of the program considerably.
Okay, thank you. So on this,
Sorry,
I guess,
just one note.
oh, yes,
Just to say, this is the last time we will get this grant.
yeah, it's
It won't be
important.
offered again. We're actually the last, I think, field course is able to get it. We're just under the wire for being allowed to have it. So
Yeah, important point. So yeah, that would not be available next year. So at this point, it concludes the presentation we had prepared. So it's time for question. Don't be shy. Any question you have, we'll be happy to answer your questions. I think somebody had raised their hand. Oh yeah, Ella, I think, yeah.
Yes, hi. I was wondering about, could you speak day-to-day life? Like, how long are we in classes for? Is there any, curfews or whatnot associated with the program, or some sort of like barriers to being like our free time kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can start since
Okay.
my course is first and it's a
Mhm.
little bit different than the other courses. So for the first course, we're traveling to UWI, so to the university. It's about a 20-minute, 25-minute, depending on traffic, bus drive to the university. The course usually starts around 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock, depending. And we're usually there until noon. We have the lecture for those 3 hours, and then we have lunch on the campus. And usually we leave right away for the field trip. And we usually have 3 days a week where we have courses. You have 1 day a week where you can work on your project, 1 or 2 days, depending. So that it is a very intensive course. The 3 courses are quite intensive. So during the courses, there's a little bit of free time, but it's still quite intensive. As for a curfew, there is no curfew. The only curfew for the Baylor Institute is on visitors. So you cannot have visitors past a certain time on the campus, but you don't personally have a curfew. I mean, obviously, we want you to be safe. We don't want you to be around the island all night, but there's no official curfew. We're dealing with adults here, so we trust that you will be safe.
Yeah, and I can add for the other 2 courses, so the schedule is slightly different because the courses take place on the premises. So we usually start class at 8:30 until 11:30, so that's in the morning. So again, you're just like 10 meters from your room, you just come out and you're in the classroom. So that takes place, 8:30 to 11:30. Then from 11:30 to 1, you have lunch, which again is prepared for you Monday to Friday. So you eat your lunch, and then we leave usually at 1 until it's flexible, depends how far we go, what is the visit, but 1 to usually about 4, we will have the field visit, then we come back, and again, what you do after that, as Valérie said, there's no curfew, whatever. For the 2nd and 3rd course, the Monday is there's no specific time to start and end, you work on your project. And then the other day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we have the class. Weekend, of course, you do whatever you want. And again, at the end of the 2nd and 3rd class, you have a week off. We give you a week so you can study, and so you can do whatever. There's no class time or whatever. And on Friday morning, from 9 to, I don't remember exactly, 9 to 12, you have the exam for that course. So that's typically, I don't know if it answers your question, Ella.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I can just specify. So since we're not on campus, when we have our course at UWI, you still get lunch. You have a packed lunch that's provided.
Also, just to say that Barbados is quite safe. There hasn't been any real problems there at all. So it's and you're right beside a park where everybody kind of has families go there on Sundays. The ocean is right there at the front. People normally get together and travel all around the island. It's a very small place. It's not very big at all. And they go to all the various sites on the island. And there's the UWI students too that you can meet up with, and and everybody. And you're living in a McGill residence, actually, in a way. I guess I don't know what to call it, but and so there might be some other people there who are doing various courses. Last summer there was a group from, I think they were from the US, who were studying the green monkeys that were there. There are monkeys on the campus grounds of Bellairs, so it is quite a safe place. So I mean, you just take normal precautions, but you don't have to take special precautions. I would say that.
And I would invite you to look at Google Map. You can see the landscape and the area. We're located in Old Town, which again is around the middle of the island on the west coast. And you can see usually in terms of shopping, we have about a 10-minute walk, I would say, 1.5 kilometers. You have a big shopping mall, supermarket, quite extensive. You find all type of food. There's also now a new organic a grocery store also just nearby. So in terms of food, and you have a few restaurants of different type of restaurants. I think we have another question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering if we have access to the facilities on campus, like their library or like their gym and things like that.
There's no gym.
No, but at UE,
You have
at
the ocean,
UE.
You have the ocean to go swimming.
Yeah. But at
Um,
UE, maybe the question is UE. You meant at
Yeah,
UE.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I don't recall ever having access to those facilities, but it's definitely a question that we could ask for next year to see if we could have access to some of those facilities for sure. In the past, my answer would be no, but we can definitely ask for this year.
I could just add before we move to the next question, you're the first person who asked that, so it's possible, but again, most of the time student tends to find a lot of things to do in terms of, you mentioned a gym. Again, we're right on the beach, a lot will swim, and there's, as Caroline mentioned, there's a park just nearby, there's a tennis ground, basketball. So I've seen some student play tennis with other students from UE or local people from just the neighborhood. So yeah, there's quite a bit to do around here.
And then just for the study spaces, is there a place where the residents are that we can go to?
So yeah, there's two. So you have your room, and then there's a small library. I wouldn't say it's not like a McGill library like downtown or McDonald campus. It's a small room. There's also the classroom that is used by the student to study. So it's a classroom that can fit the 20 student definitely. Yeah.
Sorry, just before Ella, just before Sebastian is asking if there was any entrance scholarships or awards. There is, Selena, there's the EOI or what is it?
There's a few awards that are listed on the website that you could apply for. I think there was the Shelley Young, there's the and there's also Logique, that's a Quebec funded scholarship. Last year they were giving, I think, $400, and it was fairly easy to apply, and it is a limited supply of funding. So the earlier you apply, the better. I think the students just needed a letter just saying that.
I wrote a letter saying that you were part of the program. And I have it the format from last year, so I probably just used the same thing. I'm just looking at the site now. Yeah, it's that one. Oh, enriched educational opportunities. That's what
EEO. Yeah.
And there's another one with the Les Offices Jeunesse International du Québec as well.
That's a Logique one, yeah.
Yeah. So there's at least two. So you could just take a look there, and there's links for more information on how to apply.
So now I think does that answer your question? We'll assume, yeah. Ella?
Yes, and also in terms of facilities, because we're responsible then for our breakfast and meals on the weekends. Do we have access to a kitchen for that and food storage facilities?
Yes.
The food store is quite close by, like maybe a 10-minute walk. You could take the bus, which is even shorter, but there's stores like 10 minutes away. And well stocked. They have pretty much everything you need. They cater a lot of expats and that, so there's a lot of stuff there. And there are kitchen facilities with bowls, plates, everything you need to cook there.
Yeah, there's a stove, a couple of fridge.
Yeah.
So you can, during the weekend, you can buy whatever you buy at supermarkets and prepare it.
Just one other thing, the water is perfectly safe to drink. You don't need to have any sort of bottled water or anything. Nobody uses bottled water. What are the tuition fees for this program?
It's just the regular tuition for 15 credits that you would pay if you were taking any other course at McGill.
The actual fees might be a bit less in the summer because there's certain things that are not as available. So like it might be a little bit less, but the standard price for the courses would be the same.
Does that answer your question, Maria? We have another question. And Race, go ahead.
I was wondering to write exams. I normally write them with the student accessibility and achievement and I get the extra time. I was wondering if I would still be able to get accommodation for writing exams and how that works, or would I just write it like everyone else?
No, it's the same rules apply as any other McGill course.
Okay, perfect.
You have to think ahead though, because in the summer it doesn't work as efficiently as during the other semesters. But definitely, if you get an accommodation, you can definitely have it during the exams.
Perfect, thank you.
So I don't know if there's still some questions. I don't see any raise or anything in the chat. Oh, another. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I have a lot of questions.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
we're here.
Yeah, I was wondering how, because I saw that flights aren't included in that base cost. So I was wondering how that works. Like, do we book them ourselves, or are you guys booking them and then we pay you later on for them, and just the logistics around it?
No, you book it yourself.
There are set strongly recommended dates when you should arrive. Because I think we actually have the Monday, we have a meeting with the mentors and everything else for the project course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we say it starts on the 19th, you should arrive on 19th. Sometimes it's not possible. We can arrive a day before, but again, if you decide to arrive a week before, we're not gonna pay your room for an extra week or something. So
it is a good thing to arrange the flights. We had people coming from a variety of locations last year. And even if you leave from Montreal, you actually can't leave from Montreal. You go to Toronto and then leave from Toronto. So it's a little bit more difficult than it was in the past. I mean, not difficult, but you have kind of less options.
Yeah, and last year, I know a lot of students, once they knew they were accepted, they chatted, online with other students, and most of them came on the same flight, I would say the vast majority. So you network, arrange things, but yeah.
Yeah, actually, when I arrived, because I come for the beginning of the project course, I think I arrived with almost all of the students, that like 18 of them that came all on different flights, that due to delays and that we all ended up arriving at the same time. So.
And when we get closer to the date, once the program is set, you will be in very close communication with Selena. Selena is the one who's coordinating all the travel for all the students. So she will be able to point you in the right direction, or to make sure that the booking is done in the right way, and that you make it to the program in time.
Thank you.
So chance for another couple of questions. Don't be shy again, that's why we're here. Again, if you think of some other question later on, don't hesitate to email us. Any of us would be happy. Or if you're on the campus, you see us in the hallway or something, don't hesitate to ask us question. So on this, if there's nothing else, I will thank you all for your interest and your presence today, and hopefully we see you in Barbados. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. And if you have
Bye, everyone.
questions, email us.